Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Online Racing for some more Hype Energy F1 action. This is the PlayStation 4 F2 League, where the drivers will be getting their first taste in AOR of the brand new Hanoi Street Circuit for round 3 of the championship. It is the Vietnam Grand Prix. Will we see our third different winner of the season? Last time out in Bahrain, it was Speedster who took a slightly controversial victory after contact with Sam Gamer Official, who got pole position in Bahrain. The second race in a row where a Mercedes driver has had pole and not been able to convert it to a win. Speedster then taking the victory last time out, kick-starting his championship campaign with a second place for Coutinho and Pasti rounding out the podium. Still extremely early stages, of course, and still a lot can happen this season, especially around this brand new circuit to the F1 calendar here in Vietnam. Who do you guys think will end up coming out on top? Very tricky circuit, 23 corners around the Vietnamese capital, 3.484 miles, 5.607 kilometers, testing all different aspects of a car. You've got the slow speed corners, especially turn 1, turn 6 and 7, and then that long straight leading onto the hairpin at turn 11. The final sector all about having good balance and good downforce, and as you can see, you need the straight line speed working in your car. You need a powerful package to drag yourself down the various straights, down the pitch straight, down the straight towards turn 6, and down that long run towards the hairpin. 3 DRS zones here. Expect to see plenty of overtaking. Expect to see plenty of great action with all these drivers as well. Only 14 drivers. Hopefully, though, they will be able to provide plenty of close action. That is what we've got used to. That is what we have seen so far this season. So Pasti, one of the first drivers out on track. He had a very good race, as I mentioned. Last time out, managed to finish in 3rd place. And because it was quite a mixed up field, quite different to the first race, is actually this man, Rail Fidele, leading the championship. Finished 5th last time around to go with his 2nd place. He's on 28 points at the moment. Obviously very early days. Speedster, last week's race winner, is currently on 27 points. Simo Cassiaro, the teammate of Fidele, he's on 26 points, and that gives Red Bull, unsurprisingly, the lead in the Constructors Championship, nearly double the points of the next team, Williams. So they've had a very good start at this early stage. Sam Gamer Official on 24 points. Coutinho 5th with his 18 points from last time, getting him that 5th place. And it looks like we've got one of the Mercedes ready to start a lap, and it is last week's pole sitter, man who's finished 4th in both the races so far this season, yet to get a podium. Will tonight be his chance here in Vietnam as we let him take us on a lap then of this brand new circuit? DRS open, heading down into turn 1. You might see a few dive bombs into this corner. Very tight turn, then this long turn 2 where the game's track limits do allow you to run over that white line slightly, but Sam playing it nice and safe, coming through 3, 4 and 5. Need to keep your good momentum up through there as you open the DRS once again on the run down towards turn 6. Braking hard for this roundabout section, taking as much curb as you dare. You go wider through 7 just to straighten your line through 8 and 9, but if you're in a battle in the race, don't go too wide or else someone might decide to throw one down the inside of you. Now it's flat out, with the longest flat out section on this track, one of the longest on the calendar. DRS opening halfway down as you come through turn 10, sticking to the right hand side of the track to stay on the racing line, braking just after the 100-meter board for turn 11, avoiding a lock-up, doing well there. Turn 12 follows in a similar way to what you get in the final hairpin at China, and then a 90-degree right-hander leading you into the S section that ends the lap, just taking a bit too much inside curve through 13, and you can see how that compromises his line. And you can see also how these S's get progressively slower and tighter. Need to keep good momentum, can't commit too much to any of these corners, because as you can see, you get chucked out over to the outside. Heavy braking then for turn 22. Running up now towards the finish, just a lift off the throttle there for Sam, and it is a 133.514. Pole position in the F1 was a 132.161, so I would expect to see some improvements, and there was definitely parts of that circuit where it looks as though Sam could have maybe got the lap slightly better. We'll have to see how he does. Pasty goes in just behind at the moment. Let's see how last week's race winner is doing then. Let's see how Speedster does. Had that battle with Sam that was a bit touch and go at times. It did end up with the Mercedes driver spinning, did ruin quite a few drivers' races, also getting involved in that. Pedro and Boehner, two drivers who both picked up damage. Boehner's currently on tap at the moment. So Speedster looks like a very good lap from him. 133.084 in these early stages. Deso, a man who said he was feeling confident about this race, was very bullish in the drivers' PSN chat about his confidence here. Not confident enough on that lap though, heading into the pits. Got pole in the first race in Australia, failed to finish that and missed the race last time out, so no points for the former F1 driver. It's still early days in the season though. He'll be hoping obviously to improve. Hello to everyone who is watching at home. Hope you're enjoying this, and who do you guys think is going to end up taking the victory then around here? Very interesting track layout. As I've mentioned, you've got some couple of slow corners, turn 1 especially, then obviously 11, 13, turn 6 as well. A lot of these medium speed corners, especially in the middle sector, as Pedro gets a big twitch on, lucky not to end up in the wall, and lucky that that didn't end his qualifying completely. Unsurprisingly, he's lifted off. He'll be able to give it another go, but was very close to Pedro stacking his Ferrari in the wall, which would have not been ideal whatsoever for him. Seems like most of the other drivers are heading back into the pits. Just see if there is anyone else heading on another lap. Not Super Mario. Does just look as though everyone is now cruising back towards the pit lane. Got some support here for the McLaren of Suku. He's currently in 12th position, yet to set a lap time. Got a podium in the first race, just missed out on the points last time around, finishing in 12th position. McLaren currently 8th in the Constructors Championship. The only driver to score points for McLaren at the moment is Suko, and that won't change tonight as Drez is absent. We'll just quickly run through the Constructors Order. As I mentioned earlier, Red Bull 54 points, 1 point off of being double of Williams. Williams are on 28, AlphaTauri 27, Mercedes 24, Ferrari 20, Renault 17, Racing Point 16, McLaren 15, Haas have 3 points thanks to Giggs, and Alfa Romeo. Both of their drivers are absent tonight. They are yet to get off the board, so looking very bleak already for Alfa Romeo's chances. We have got Giggs just starting his lap as well. Seems to be near the lower end of the pace in qualifying, but always manages to get points. Very few drivers have scored points, it has to be said, in both races so far this season. He is one of them, a 9th in Australia, a 10th in Bahrain. Maybe tonight, with a few drivers being absent and with how close the walls are, this is a chance for possibly everyone who finishes to end up scoring some decent points. Suku just coming down on this run then to turn 6. You might see some overtaking here in the race. Probably not though, as it will allow your driver to have DRS on the next straight, where you'd expect most of the overtakes to happen. Suku taking a lot of curb there and seemingly getting away with it, so that's good news for him. Here we go, Suku then heading down through turn 10, this flat out right hand king, 204 miles an hour, 205. See how high up he gets towards at the braking zone, 207 miles per hour as he slams on the brakes, just over 330 kilometers per hour then for the McLaren driver. Looks as though he's got a slight twitch on the rear there coming through turn 12, but didn't seem to affect him. Seems to be a very good lap so far from him. We'll follow him through to the end of this lap. Can he get himself over to the 132s? We're nearly halfway through the session, and Speedster looking good for pole position at the moment. Boehner second, and Coutinho carrying on his good form from last time out in 3rd place. Locking up the front left there did Suku. No assists obviously in this tier, but he did get away with it. Did make the apex, and he heads towards the finish line, and he does go fastest by 29 thousandths of a second. A 133.055 puts the McLaren on provisional pole position with half the session still to go. Deso at this moment in time then. Let's see how he does. Yet to set a lap time, of course, so not really got a chance to see how he does. Seemed to back off his lap very early last time around. 105.749 seems good. Very respectable time so far coming through the first two sectors. We'll see if he can get this nailed at the moment. It's very close at the top of the timing charts. Just over a tenth of a second separating Suku in first and Coutinho in fourth. And you've got a bit more of a gap back to championship leader Fedele. Boss Wanted, Sam only in seventh at this moment in time. I'm sure he was hoping for slightly better than that as Deso heads across the line. Fifth position at the moment for the Mercedes driver. As I said, he was feeling confident about possibly getting a victory here. Might need to find a bit more pace. Obviously not allowed to tweak the setup now. As with all F1 circuits, set up a bit of a compromise here. Do you strip off the downforce knowing you'll be extremely fast down the straights but struggle in that final sector and wear your tyres? Or do you go for a bit more downforce, maybe leaving yourself vulnerable to overtakes in the race but being much faster over one lap? We'll have to see what the different drivers have gone for. Coutinho has invalidated at the moment. Speedster just heading around the final sector now. Currently in P2 in the qualifying session and P2 in the championship. At the moment, the American seems to be finding his mojo again after a disappointing season by his standards in F1 last time out. Back down in F2, getting a victory last time around. See how he does now. Across the finish line he comes. Is it improvement on his previous time? It is a big improvement on his previous time. Found 3.5 tenths of a second. 132.750. Puts the Alpha Tauri driver on top at this moment in time. I think we're going to have to see a few more of these guys head out once again if they want to do anything about that. Fedele, he's improving at the moment. Interestingly, that Simo Cassiaro, his teammate, winner, let's not forget, of the first race. Red Bull getting a 1-2 at the first race. Fedele was the only person to score points for them last time out. Safety cars, incidents affecting quite a few drivers under the lights at the Sakir International Circuit. Interesting to see Simo still in the pits. And it looks as though Fedele is just warming up for perhaps another run here. Boss Wanted coming through the final sector. Picked up his first points of the season last time around with a 9th place in Bahrain. That obviously puts him on 2 points at the moment. 14th in the championship. 8th at the moment, and he's bashed the left-hand side of the wall there. Heading through the final corner. Will have damaged his front wing, I believe. Definitely cost him a lot of momentum, and you can see there, broken front wing. Won't be the first, I'd be surprised, and he definitely won't be the last. So, broken front wing for Boss Wanted. Long way back to the pitch. Should still have enough time to get out and set another lap time. He's currently in 8th position. Pedro just starting his flying lap. Still with 6 minutes to go. A third of the session remaining. It is Speedster at the top of the timing charts from Suku, who's heading out on an out lap now. Possibly his last attempt. Seems to be going out when the track's a bit quieter. Do some of these drivers at this moment in time. Suku second, Bainer third, Coutinho fourth, Pasti in fifth, continuing his form from last time out. Deso, I think, will be disappointed with 6th at this moment in time, as will his teammate in 9th position. We'll see what Pedro can do at the moment. Surprised we haven't seen... I know there's still a bit of time to go, but I think on the final run, we might see some slipstreaming from a few of the different teams here, as Pedro getting up to a similar speed to what we saw Suku do earlier down the main straight. 206, 207 miles an hour as you approach the braking zone. Obviously won't be near as fast in the race when they haven't got DRS, but will be going a lot faster when they are in DRS and slipstream with the car in front. Pedro obviously making a big mistake on his previous lap. That's why he's 13th and last of those that have set a time at the moment. Samo choosing to stay in the pits still. Very interesting strategy. Whether he is going to set a time, I don't know, as you just see the racing point going to the pits, and that is an interesting thing about this circuit. You skip the final couple of corners going into the pit lane, and it feeds you out into the middle of turn 2. So pit stops don't cost you really a lot of time around this circuit compared to some of the others. And Pedro, 10th place at the moment, just getting into that top 10. Well, let's not forget, you will have to start on the tyres that you qualify on. Sam, he's currently heading around sector 2, not improving at the moment, so it looks like he's going for a second lap on these set of tyres, maybe just building a bit of confidence. And you do see this more You see this more on street circuits, drivers going for this tactic of a second lap just because he's actually broken his front wing, so I'll be heading into a pit. So scrap everything that I'm about to say, but you see drivers going for a second lap just to build up the confidence, because if you push straight away on your first lap, you could easily end up in the wall. There's a yellow flag appearing there. Not quite sure what that is for. I think Super Mario's run out of petrol, so he's in 8th place. He might not be improving whatsoever. Is this man improving, though? Is Suku working his way up through the order? Car number 46 at this moment in time. Can he get into the 132s and challenge Sam Speedster at this moment in time? Indeed he can. 19 thousandths ahead this time around. These two are looking the class of the field around this Vietnamese circuit, I must say. Suku goes top. That is very likely going to be, as he's low on fuel, that will be his final attempt. Speedster, I think, will be heading out soon to possibly get another run in. We'll have to wait and see. We've got Pasty and Boehner on outlaps at the moment. So we haven't got the usual, what we see the last few minutes, every driver heading out on circuit. They seem to be going for something slightly different here, which is interesting. Drivers tending to get a bit more spaced out. We know the dirty air has a bigger effect on this game than it has had in previous games, but I'm still surprised we haven't seen any... Well, I was about to say we haven't seen any teams working together. Red Bulls, as you can see on the track map, they're just heading around turn 6 and 7 at the moment. And you'll just be able to see, very faintly in the background there is a Red Bull behind Fidele. His teammate has made it out on circuit. Are they going to go for the slipstream to try and boost Simo up the order? Showed great pace in the first race, going for the alternate strategy. Didn't work out last time out with incidents and damage. We'll have to see how it does here, and whether this is deliberate or whether it's just completely coincidental that they've gone out on circuit. It doesn't look like they're close enough to attempt the slipstream at the moment, but we might have to keep an eye on that one in about a minute's time. Pasty then improved in the first sector. Can he improve coming through the middle sector? Indeed he can. 2 tenths up on his personal best. Well, this looks like it could be good enough to put him up into P3 for now. Full commitment through these S's, and we'll see in car number 14, of course, not on a Renault, on an Alpine next season. Simo just having to get out of the way, and that might ruin the plan of the Red Bull boys ever so slightly now that they've got a Renault in between them. But what can Pasty do round the final corner? He's ran out of ERS. Can he improve his time? Lost a bit of time in the final sector then. 4th place for the Renault driver at the moment, but we are expected to see a few others improve. Speedster on an outlap at the moment. Who else is on a hot lap at this moment in time? Super Mario and Courinho, both Williams, currently just on a slow down lap. Sam on an outlap as well. He's actually going to have to get a move on here. Some of these drivers are really going to have to get a skate on, and Sam's now got Fidele not too far behind him, which is going to give the Red Bull a fantastic slipstream down this straight, but he's really going to block him, and I think that's the best thing Sam could do there, is just get out of the way. But he's probably... There is a bit of a timing glitch that could happen, and I hope for Sam's sake that is what has happened. Otherwise he made a bit of a boo-boo here when it comes to getting a time done. Boehner completely cutting that hairpin there. Not sure if he'd already invalidated his lap, but bailing out the way. He had Deso just ahead of him. This has been a bit messy. Suku thinks he's safe at the moment, and we'll have to wait and see who's going to be the last driver to cross the finish line. Boss Wanted will go on board with then. He's going to pretty much cross the finish line as the checkered flag drops in the Renault. So Boss Wanted heading towards the finish line. Checkered flag is out. There we go, 133.479. I think that means both Mercedes failed to make it. Deso's failed to make it as well. Both Mercedes have failed to make it through and not set a time in enough time. They headed out on track too late. Disaster for the Mercedes team. 7th and 11th for them. Speedster, we'll see what he's doing. He's heading around the final couple of corners. Doesn't look at the moment as if this is going to be able to challenge Suku, so I think it could be a first pole of the season for the McLaren driver. Speedster heads towards the final corner. What do I know? 132.519 from Speedster. Great final couple of sectors, and that puts him on the pole position for now. Courinho has invalidated Deso We know he's not setting another time. What can Super Mario do? Got some points in the first race of the season, finishing in 5th place. How high can he get himself up the grid this time around? Pedro on a lap as well. Good middle sector from Super Mario, nearly 2 tenths up on his personal best. This could challenge for Daly in 6th. Simo only in last place at the moment. Not many more drivers on a lap. Only the Williams and the Ferrari. Can Pedro work his way up into the top 11 then as he heads towards the finish line in the Ferrari? Great improvement from him. 3rd place for the Ferrari, snatching that at the deck, clutching it in the final set part of the circuit. And Super Mario headed towards the finish line, crosses the line. He's moved up to 4th as well. So Ferrari and a Williams bumping some of the others off the second row of the grid. But Speedster continuing his good form from last time around, getting his first pole position of the season, 2 tenths ahead of Suku. Those two, as you can see, class of the field. The gap between 1st and 3rd is as big as the gap between 3rd and 13th. Pedro, half a second off pole position. Super Mario, not too far behind. Boehner, Pasti, Courinho, extremely close in 5th, 6th and 7th. Fidele, 8th for championship leader. Dezo, failing to set a time near the end. He is 9th. Alex Pro is 10th. Boss Wanted will have fresh tyres, as will Sam Gamer, Giggs, and the winner from the first race, Simo Cassiaro, only set 1 lap. Unfortunately for him, was only good enough for last place on the grid. So we'll have to see how this goes in this race. One thing to watch out for, and it does happen quite a lot around this Vietnamese circuit, is the weather. You do see wet weather appear frequently around this track. So don't be surprised if we get some rain, as it is looking very overcast. I think it's fair to say around this circuit is looking very overcast indeed. So let's see how this goes for some of these drivers. Let's see what tyres the drivers go for. That might be a bit of a clue to see whether anyone challenges for the alternate strategy. If we see what tyres some of these drivers start on, might give us a hint for the weather conditions. Interestingly, the winner from last time out, Speedster, on pole position. We haven't had a driver step on the podium twice yet. 6 people been on the podium, 6 different possible podium slots, obviously, so far. It looks as though, judged by that qualifying, that Suku and Speedster, Suku in 2nd, Speedster in 1st, are going to be looking to challenge that. And can Speedster make it 2 wins out of 2? I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the sponsors who are involved with AOR and help bring all this together. Obviously, there is Hype Energy and also Elgato Gaming and GT Omega Racing. We wouldn't be able to do the streams without them, so thank you so much for their support. We are getting underway then. Formation lap underway. 28 laps coming right up. Soft tyres for everyone in the top 10. We knew that. Mediums for everyone outside it. Apart from this man, who will be hoping to keep it nice and clean on lap 1 and hoping that he doesn't get involved in any incidents and hoping that he doesn't drift his way around turn 2 when it comes to the actual race start. Sam Gamer Official going for the hard tyres for Canadian driver. Very consistent so far this season. In the top 4 twice, but unfortunately for him, it's only been a 4th place twice. He'll be trying to work his way up the order, as will the winner of the first race, starting in last place. Didn't really get a view of what his pace was around here, as I think he got quite stuck in traffic of everyone trying to make their way up around the hot lap. It was an extremely messy qualifying session, to say the least, I think, that one. So wouldn't be surprised if we get a few stewards' inquiries. And it looks like Speedster's trying to set a fairly decent pace here on his tyres. You saw there, the game suggesting 2 stops. I'd expect most of the field to go for the 1-stop strategy. I know you do cut off the final corners, but they do actually start the pit lane speed limit extremely early to take into account for that. So do expect a 1-stop strategy for most of the field. Safety cars, though, always a danger around this track. The walls never too far away, with a very sharp braking zone into turn 1. Could easily see a few end plates flying. We saw a few in qualifying. Sam met one of those. I think Pedro also losing part of his front wing. Boss Wanted as well. He starts in 11th. Sometimes this is a very handy slot to start an F1 race outside the top 10. That's how Samo got his win. Race 1 of the season, starting outside the top 10. Can Boss Wanted do something different here as well? Have to wait and see. Who do you guys think is going to take the victory? Will Speedster be able to make it 2 in a row for himself and 2 in a row for the AlphaTauri team? Will we see Suku, who showed great pace in qualifying? Both times he set a lap, he went quicker than Speedster, but Speedster managed to clinch it at the end, and Suku didn't have time to get a final lap in. Pedro getting a very good qualifying at the death in 3rd, so did Super Mario. Quite a few behind, we know, didn't get a clean lap in, and as I said before, the man in 9th place, Deso, was extremely confident that he was going to take the victory here, and if he does take the win, that means we are in for one hell of a race, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for the lights to come on then at the Vietnam circuit here in Hanoi. We've got 5 lights on here for round 3 of the season, and we are underway, and it's a good start from the front too. I think Suku's just got a slightly better start, and he'll have the inside line into turn 1. So Suku going down the inside takes the lead of the race for now. Speedster trying to hold it on all the way around the inside, and that might just allow him to hold on. Great racing already between these two. So Speedster recovers from that slightly tighter line. He's at stake though than Suku. Pedro just behind. Super Mario is in 4th place for now, but already it looks like Super Mario's thinking about a move down the inside into turn 6. And Pedro extremely late on the brakes, too late on the brakes from the Ferrari driver, and you can see that's allowed the Williams to get up ahead. Few moves in the background as well. Looks like everyone's got away cleanly, but Deso was already dropped a couple of places, so interested to see if he's got any damage. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it's been the greatest of starts for the Mercedes boys either, because Simo now trying to get past Sam Gamer for 12th position. This isn't a sight we're used to seeing, is it? The Mercedes right down at the back of the grid. Suku down the inside at the hairpin at turn 11. Takes the lead of this race. Again, Pedro extremely late on the brakes, nearly going into the back of Super Mario this time. So seems to be struggling in these cooler conditions with the heavier fuel load. And again, Pedro running wide. Has he got any damage? Can't see any visible damage. I don't think I saw him make contact with anyone earlier to see where he would have picked it up, but really seems to be struggling in the braking zones on lap 1, and that's just allowing Super Mario already to get away. But as we end lap 1, we've had a change of position. 1st and 2nd have swapped, 3rd and 4th have stopped. Best starter in the race is Boss Wanted. He has gone up quite a few positions, 3 positions at this moment in time, as the timing screen does what the timing screen does nowadays. We are still on lap 2 as Boss Wanted now goes extremely deep into turn 1 there, but just about gets away with it. And I think the Slipstream Fest and the DRS train will soon be starting. Suku just seems to be bolting away at this moment in time, pushing extremely hard. Whether that's just pure pace, whether he's having to use his tyres up a bit more, we'll have to wait and see, as Pedro still in 4th position at this moment in time, looking for his first podium and Ferrari's first of the season. Super Mario in 3rd, saw his teammate get a podium last time around. You've got to say, I know it's early on in the season, Williams 2nd in the Constructors Championship, looking very good at the moment, as Boehner's got a much better exit coming out of turn 9 than Pedro, as we get another possible pit strategy for these drivers, and it looks like the Ferrari's going to have to go defensive here. You can just see the Racing Point trying to go all the way around the outside at the hairpin. Is Boehner able to make the move stick on the exit? Indeed he does. Great move from the Racing Point. He is up into 4th place, so that's Pedro now down 2 places on his starting position, and again struggling on the brakes, hitting the back of Boehner, and that is going to be big front wing damage for Pedro. Probably going to be worth him coming into the pits, because this final sector is going to be an absolute nightmare, but really struggling under braking for some reason in that Ferrari. He's staying out on track, but this is going to be music to the ears of Pasti and Coutinho, who's got to chuck one down the inside there of Pasti. He's still alongside this contact. He's now got some big front wing damage. I suppose small mercy, at least it's on both sides of the car, so it'll affect you equally from all the corners, but I think he'll probably feel he was entitled to a bit more space, but it's not really a conventional overtaking opportunity, that final corner. And Coutinho with big damage, surely he's having to come into the pits this time around. DRS is enabled. You can see the flap open on the back of Speedster. He's just not close enough at the moment to Suku to take advantage, but he'll be able to use that DRS to just save a bit of fuel, save a bit of ERS, and then maybe go for it later on in the race. You don't want to be too close to the car in front though, through that middle sector, through that final sector, sorry, as your tyres will really heat up and you will struggle will struggle to get your tyres to last, as now we're seeing the effect of the DRS around this track. Speedster 10 miles an hour faster as we head towards the hairpin at turn 11, choosing not to go round the outside this time around, just staying behind Pasti. He goes down the inside of Pedro, then takes that position. The Ferrari's going to try and fight back, but with the damage on that front wing, I think it's going to be exceptionally hard for him to do so. And stays in 6th position then for now. Still no one had a pit stop, still everyone in this race, and Sam picking up a penalty as he's fighting with Giggs for 12th position. Would not have expected Mercedes to be 12th and 14th, given the fact that obviously before this race they had both pole positions, one each for both of the drivers, because Pedro and Coutinho come into the pits. This is really going to compromise their strategy, two-stop strategy, I think most likely for these drivers. That time around, it was the racing point of Boehner with the fastest lap as he tries to get within a second of Super Mario and make it a 4-car train in the lead of this race. Then a bit more of a gap back to Pasti and Fedele. Boss wanted Alex, Giggs, Simo, Sam, Deso, as Boehner just cutting the corner too much at turn 5. He's now broken his front wing. He'll probably be into the pits on this lap as well, and this could well be around Vietnam, a bit like you see at so many of the traditional street circuits on this game. Baku, Monaco and Singapore, as Simo Casiaro wakes his way up into 9th position, getting back past Giggs, who must have got ahead of him earlier on. As Sam, I said you can do that through the roundabout section at turn 6, 7, 8 and 9. Tried to get alongside Giggs, the gap just closed ever so slightly, but he's going to have a fantastic run. Speedster's had a fantastic run on Suku. The McLaren trying to dive down the inside here. That's going to force the AlphaTauri over the curb. He'll get a warning for that. Raw Speedster. And again, a bit like last time, he's finding himself in a battle with someone up front who does not want to give him the position. Well within his rights to, as Giggs has now been passed by both of the Mercedes, and Deso taking an opportunity on those soft tyres. Let's not forget, having started in the top 10, he's now back into the top 10. Getting ahead of Sam and Giggs. Sam came into that move in 11th place. I think thought he'd be heading up into the points. Just Deso and Giggs swapping around. Pedro and Coutinho coming out 13th and 14th after their pit stop. Seemed like a lot of understeer there for Sam, whether he's still struggling a bit with the hard tyres. Do take a while, obviously, to heat up. He'll be hoping to go long in the race. Go for the soft tyres at the end. Watch out for him possibly getting that point for the fastest lap if he finishes in the top 10 here at AOR in the Hype Energy F1 Leagues. The point system exactly the same as normal Formula 1. 25 for the winner, 18-15, down to 1 for 10th place. And if you're in the top 10 and set the fastest lap, you get yourself a bonus point as well. Speedster still looking extremely close to Suku. Suku, both of them doing well on ERS. A lot of heavy braking zones here where you can harvest a lot of electrical energy from the MG UK. And I think this time around again, Suku, he's defending with ERS. Speedster using the ERS. Again, Speedster goes to the outside. Is he able to cut off the inside? But this time he's ahead a long way before the corner. Suku thinks about it. Not able to get the move done this time around. So that is a swap for the lead of this race. Speedster back into the lead, the pole sitter. Suku down to second, and Super Mario just staying in touch with these. Boehner obviously dropping back with the damage that he's got, but only seems to be light front wing damage with that missing end plate. Lost about half a second on the last couple of laps, and not doing too bad at the moment. I think the battling of these drivers in front just slowing them down, and it wouldn't be surprising to maybe see an undercut. If we do see it, expect it to be Super Mario diving into the pits, because that undercut could well work in his favour to take the victory in this race for the Williams. Then lap 6, the front two as they were. Pedro started 3rd, he's dropped down to 13th after front wing damage. Coutinho came together with Pasti, that is why he's down in last place. Boehner just ahead of the Renault, at the moment. The Red Bull of Fedele, he's now got Boss Wanted closing up to the back of him. This is the point where you'd expect those soft tyres to start wearing a bit more, and the mediums could be the tyre to be on at this moment in time. So don't be too surprised if Boss Wanted starts making his way up very shortly. Probably still a bit too far behind maybe to do it on this lap, but next lap he should be right on the back of the Red Bull and have a great chance to get an overtake done. Now will the AlphaTauri leading this race, last week's race winner, will he have to go defensive here? Suku will have the DRS open at this moment in time, just not close enough this time around to go for a move, and I think he knows that. Just looks a bit to the inside, maybe to spook Speedster, but Suku unable to spook at this moment in time as Dezo makes his way past Semo Cassiaro. So that is Dezo working his way up. He's still showing plenty of good pace on the soft tyres, it must be said. He is now up into that 9th position, back where he started after a dreadful first lap. Semo Cassiaro and Boss Wanted, really the biggest winners at the moment, both up 4 positions at this moment in time. Pasti now closing onto the back of Boehner, who unsurprisingly into the pits with that front wing damage, trying to hold on as long as possible. What tyres will he go for? If it's the mediums, expect a 2-stop. If it's hards, maybe he's going for a 1-stop strategy. We know Pedro and Coutinho didn't really pit easy enough for the 1-stop to be feasible. It's hard tyres, so possibly a 1-stop here for the Racing Point. Boehner will come out then in 12th position. And it seems like Speedster's put a bit of a skate on all of a sudden. He's got that gap up to above a second. Suku might have to start thinking about defending here rather than attack. Maybe even start thinking about a pit stop because he's lost a bit of time all of a sudden to the race leader. That gap is above a second, and now Super Mario, if he wants to start thinking about a move, he's not got the car in front of him. He's not got the advantage of DRS anymore. So this might be the chance here for Super Mario if he wants to try to get up into second on track. But it wouldn't be surprising to see either of these two pit before Speedster. Speedster can probably afford to stay out maybe a lap longer and then just have a lap fresher tyres towards the end. Boehner did come out then in 12th place, as it looks like we might have a battle on here for the final points paying position. The Haas of Giggs not able to go down the inside, ends up going straight up the back of Sam. Thankfully Sam was able to hold it together. Thankfully for Giggs, I think he's very lucky there. Might have picked up some minor front wing damage, but surprised that didn't knock an end plate off the Haas, to be perfectly honest with you. As Coutinho fighting all the way down the field, he is up into 13 as second and third place man Suku and Super Mario into the pits then for their first, maybe only pit stop of this race. We'll have to see. So that's going to promote Pasti and Fedele up as well. Dezo also coming into the pits. He's obviously done a lot of battling through the field, so not too surprising to see that he's one of the first drivers to come in. Speedster running off the track limits there, but the game lets you do that. If the game lets you do that, I can't see any problem with that personally. He's now got a 6-second lead at the head of this race, as Fedele now in third in this Renault sandwich between Pasti in second and Boss Wanted currently in that third position. Dezo is going to come out very close to the Racing Point of Boehner. I think he's just going to come out ahead of him then. So Boehner up into 11th place. Suku in 9th on the hard. Super Mario has gone for the medium tyres. Medium tyres on that Williams, so he needs to push like man, needs to get ahead of Suku and then push, because he's clearly not planning to get those towards the end. As Pedro and Coutinho both in the pits, they've put the hard tyres on. They were going to pit that early. Why did they put the mediums on? Have these two made contact with each other anywhere and picked up another piece of damage, I wonder, because they've put the hard tyres on, so they'll be going to the end now. But really, it looks like it's going to be a tough ask for them to get points. We've still actually got every single runner in this race, which is not something I expected. I expected there to be a few incidents early on. Testament to the skill of these drivers. Speedster! 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Exactly what he did not need. Fedele picking up one as well. They won't serve that in this pit stop, but he will have to get that added on to his race time or serve it in his next pit stop. And that now means that we've got Boss Wanted in the lead of this race from Alex Pro, the last driver on the soft tyres not to pit. Where's Speedster going to come out then relative to Suku? You can just see the McLaren is coming down the pit straight now, and I think he's just about going to come out ahead. This is going to be so close between them, and Speedster just gets ahead of Suku then at the moment, but he's got to push now. He's got a 5-second penalty, needs to get 5 seconds ahead, or just needs to hope that we see a few corner invalidations and corner cutting penalties for the McLaren. And that gap has closed down. It was more than a second before the pit stops. You can see visibly how close it is now. The net lead three here, Speedster, Suku and Super Mario, all within a second of each other. Starting to wonder if this DRS train might just affect Super Mario's strategy, because he's going to find it very hard to overtake either the McLaren or the AlphaTauri, whichever one he has to, in a conventional position at any point, as ERS open on Suku. Surprised he didn't do that earlier on to get a bit of a bigger boost down the early parts of the straight. ERS generally seems to be more effective in the early stages, especially on the new modern F1 game, where you can almost treat it as a curse system. As Fedele down the inside of Pasti, he takes 9th position then. That is a net 4th place at the moment then for the championship leader, working his way up the order. 7.5 seconds though off Super Mario. It's going to be hard for him to get his second podium of the season. Alex Pro comes into the pits, then the final pit. Final driver to pit then of the soft tyres, and that makes this man, Boss Wanted, your race leader then on lap 10, 4 seconds ahead of Cassiaro. Sam Gamer in 3rd, Giggs in 4th, and then Speedster, Suku, Super Mario, that battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. Those are the drivers. They're the lead drivers of those that have pitted, but as you can see, this could get difficult for Speedster because he's stuck behind Giggs at the moment, and this is for position. Giggs not really in a fight with these guys, but he's completely entitled to battle them if he so wishes. You can see how much the front wing damage and the front wing change just cost Boehner. He's dropped behind his teammate then. So Racing Point 10th and 11th at this moment in time, as Suku's tried one down the inside there of Speedster. Extremely brave and opportunistic, I must say. I don't think he's picked up any damage, but that's definitely compromised the AlphaTauri's exit and a bit of bump drafting. Don't normally see this in F1. This could get very messy indeed here. Speedster goes for the inside. Suku's going to have to try and go in the middle of the two cars. Can he make it all the way around the outside of Speedster here? No, he cannot, and he's nearly spun. But Super Mario just says thank you very much. Super Mario takes 5th place. Suku tried it, but Speedster just did to Suku what Suku did to him early on. And as he come back onto track over that curve, losing a bit of traction, Suku now drops behind Super Mario, but still a good chance for the McLaren driver. I imagine Super Mario will definitely be pitted again, and Speedster has that 5-second penalty, so just stays calm here. Still a chance this win could come to him. Giggs comes into the pits, I imagine wondering how on earth he didn't get any damage, as Boehner. 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits, and he's retired from the session, so did he pick up some damage? Anyway, that's forced him to retire. Boehner is out of this race. Our first retirement then on lap 10, and it is the Racing Point of Boehner. Scored points in both races so far. One of the few drivers to do too. We won't make it 3 top 10 finishers out of 3, unfortunately for him. On board with Simo then, the winner of the first race, currently in 2nd place at the moment. No one, not really in a battle with anyone at this moment in time, you could say, on or off track. Possibly Giggs after the pit stop periods all roll out. That gap at the moment is 28 seconds. So you'd still expect Giggs to probably be ahead, if I'm being perfectly on. Well, no, sorry, I expect Giggs to be behind, obviously. You'd expect Simo to be ahead of Super Mario down the inside of Speedster then. Takes 4th place. That is the net lead for Super Mario. Now he needs to just push. He needs to try and get away here. It was Alex Pro getting ahead of Pasti, who just doesn't seem to have the same pace on these hard tyres that he had on the softs earlier on. Fedele's managed to get ahead of him and stay ahead. And now Alex Pro gets ahead. So that's 8th place for the Racing Point driver. Looking like a possible top 5 finish by the time we get to the end of the race. And Super Mario getting ahead of Speedster could be good news for Suku, just because you'd expect the Williams to be able to pull away a second gap at this moment in time, which will mean that Speedster won't have DRS, because that is going to make it extremely difficult, as we've already seen, for the 3rd car in these trains. Just so difficult to overtake, as Speedster's gone way too deep. Well, I think he just got caught out by having DRS on the run down to turn 1 there on these hard tyres. Suku gratefully receives that 2nd position then. Big mistake, not really under any pressure there from Speedster, just locked a front tyre, decided it's better to not make the corner, and that's cost him a position. As these front 3 then, the next front 3 I should say, catching up to the man who's currently in 3rd place. Sam Gamer on those hard tyres. Remember, his race is all coming at the end. But it might be in his interest to just hold some of these drivers up, because you never know what could happen. We've only seen one retirement so far, and that was in the pits, but a safety car could completely change things at the moment, especially for those that have managed to go a tiny bit longer at this moment in time. What this does mean, of course, if Suku tries to get past Super Mario, might have to do it soon before the Williams manages to get DRS off the back of the Mercedes, because again, 3rd car in the train, it's a lot more difficult to make an overtake. So Fidele and Alex Pro, 7th and 8th place at the moment. You can see they are pulling away from Pasti as Fidele's clipped the wall. No major damage done. Still got all his end plates, so extremely lucky there to get away without any damage. This circuit bites just when you think it doesn't. Something like that can happen, and a bit more of a bigger contact, it can be front wing gone. A big contact, it could be wheel gone and race over. And that could bring out a VSC or a safety car. But you've got to say, Alex at the moment, sort of coming from nowhere, stayed out longer than everyone else on the soft tyres, put the hards on. He showed great pace since the pit stop. Could still work his way up the order to get ahead of Fidele, which would put him in 7th and a net 4th position at this moment in time. And it does look like he is being held up ever so slightly. Out in front, the gap is 3.2 seconds, with Sam a further 3.2 seconds behind Samo. Is Fidele going to bother going defensive? And I don't think Alex, I think I just heard a very slight lift from the racing point. Don't think he really bothered going for it at that moment in time, deciding to just wait for this. Obviously great opportunity if he gets a good exit through 8 and 9. Great traction, I must say, from that Red Bull. Not much ERS either, which is going to cost Alex ever so slightly. Fidele's got a tiny bit more, so might be worth him going on overtake now to just defend this position, because he could still have a chance of defending it. In the end, he decides it's not worth it, and Alex moves up into 7th position. These two have dropped past him ever so slightly. The gap 1.4 seconds as he tries to get back within that all-important 1 second range. With Super Mario is trying to get within of Sam Gamer at the moment as Boss Wanted heads into the pits. So Samo Cassiaro, winner of Australia, becomes your new race leader then as we start lap 14 of the Vietnam Grand Prix. Boss Wanted, unsurprisingly, going for the hard tyres. We'll have to see where he comes out. I imagine he's going to be round about where Deso is at this moment in time. So Deso in that 10th place at the moment, gets promoted into 9th. It's going to be pretty close on pit exit, but I think the Renault is just going to get ahead of the Mercedes. So the Renault's currently running in 8th and 9th, and on those fresher tyres, there's still a chance for Boss Wanted to get into the top 5 here as Super Mario. I think that's the first corner multiple warnings penalty we've seen for these top 3 drivers of Super Mario, Suku and Speedster. We know Speedster's got that 5-second time penalty to be added on. It doesn't seem to be able to stay in touch with Suku at this moment in time, which is very interesting indeed. Super Mario, he's got DRS, he's got no ERS so to fight with, and he could lose a lot of time in this final sector behind Sam Gamer if he gets right up the back of him. Seems to be pulling away from Suku, as I said, it's pulling away from Speedster. Alex has really got away from Fidele. Has Fidele made a mistake? As we see Coutinho, he's actually put the medium tyres on, so I wonder if he's had a bit more damage, setting the fastest lap of the race. Finished second last time out, did the Williams. Doesn't seem like he's going to be able to add any more points to his haul at this moment in time. Next time around, we'll be staying in Asia. It will be the Chinese Grand Prix, of course, 8 PM again next Sunday. But plenty of action to go here. We're halfway through the race then. Samo Cassiaro, the leader of the race. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th in the moment. The top 2 drivers still yet to pit. Everyone else has made at least 1 stop. Pedro with 2, Coutinho with 3 stops for him. Not an optimum strategy, I think it's fair to say, as Boss Wanted gets ahead of Pasti. So that is the Renault. I think Pasti was trying to go for the cutback there and it didn't quite work. So 2 Renaults swapping. That could work out well. Not sure if that was intentional. I don't think it was. Got to say, on the fresher tyres, Boss Wanted has probably got the better pace at this point in the race, so could be worth letting him go and letting him fight for Daly and catch up to Alex. That gap has grown now to 2.8 seconds between the Red Bull and the Racing Point. Still, can't see any damage on that Red Bull. Can't see a reason why he will have dropped off so much. Sam's actually showing pretty decent pace here, still catching up to Simo. You would expect the hards to be better out of those one mediums at the moment. Super Mario down the inside takes second position then from Sam Gamer. Suku wasn't really close enough to try and have a go, and again Speedster's now more than a second back. Well, has Speedster picked up any damage? No, can't see any. But he nearly picked up some there. Very close to getting the wall. You've got to say at the moment though, second might be the best he could hope for. It all depends. Can Super Mario make those mediums last till the end? I don't think he can. And then when he pits, he's going to be coming out way down in 8th, 9th, 10th position. But he'll be extremely fast on the softs at the end. Now though, he needs to push, getting a bit of a wiggle on through the final corner. Boss Wanted on his push to try and get back up the order and try to get towards the Red Bull and then catch up to Alex Pro. Picks up a 3-second time penalty at the moment. As I was saying though, Sam's showing pretty decent pace. It did look as though Suku and some of the others were catching up as Boss Wanted down the inside into turn 1 again. He did it last lap to his teammate. He must love turn 22 and 23 because he's getting a great exit out of them to get alongside. It's not the easiest overtaking opportunity. You'd normally do it into the hairpin at turn 11 or possibly even into turn 6 or turn 13 if you get a good run out of the hairpin. You don't expect to see it too much in turn 1. And that is Boss Wanted then up into 7th place at this moment in time, as it looks like Suku is about to get onto the podium places. Sam has got DRS, but he's got older tyres. And Suku's not quite sure which way to go at the moment. He goes down the inside. Is Sam going to try and hold it off all the way around the outside? He's trying. He's still there. Can't get the traction on the exit though on the older rubber. So that is Suku up into 3rd. Sam now drops into 4th place. Speedster has really dropped back 2 seconds at this moment in time. I've got to think he's picked up some minor damage, or he just does not feel confident on these hard tyres. We've seen him get a couple of slides on already. He's now 2 seconds behind Suku, and he's got that 5-second penalty. Let's not forget, as Samuel Cassiaro pits from the lead of this race. He'll come out then in around 9th, 10th position. Ricky Galaxy will probably be in 10th, just behind Deso. That means Super Mario now in the lead of the race on lap 17, 12 laps to go on those medium tyres though. Won't be able to get to the end, I don't think, as that is a very interesting choice by Simo. He's gone for the soft tyres. We didn't see anyone take the soft tyres. I think the longest was Alex, wasn't it? Taking them 8 or 9 laps. We know the fuel's burnt off. 12 laps could be interesting. I don't think you're going to puncture. I don't think you're going to have great pace though towards the end. Has Fidele got some damage? Yes, front wing change for the Red Bull then. Both Red Bulls going out on the soft tyres. Busy boys and girls in the pit crew from the Milton Keynes base team. Fidele out in what will be 11th place on those soft tyres. It's going to be hard for him in this remaining time for him to push his way up the order to actually catch up to Giggs as well. So, not sure the softs are the best at this moment in time, if I'm being perfectly honest. As Simo, you can see, closing up to the back of Deso at the moment. Deso in the slipstream of Pasti, who has dropped back from his teammate. A bit like Speedster, Pasti just seems to be struggling on these harder tyres. And now Simo, he doesn't want to get stuck in the dirty air. He knows he needs to make a move stick sooner rather than later. But I don't want to sound like a broken record. 3rd man in the DRS train. So hard to get an overtake done in your conventional overtaking opportunities. Perhaps turn 13 might be a chance. If he gets a good exit, Rudy Sessers, as I was about to say, if you get a good run through 21, could even be possible to send one down the inside at 22, exactly like that. Great move from Samuel Cassiaro, using the grip of his tyres through turn 21 to get the run into 22. That is a possibility, as we've just seen. Great opportunistic thinking from the Red Bull. He is now up into 8th position. And Sam's still staying on the back of Suku at this moment in time. And I can see why. While he's in DRS range, might as well take advantage. He'll definitely be going onto the soft tyres. at the end of this race. He'll be coming out behind his teammate. Oh, will he actually? Trying to think about this. Yeah, he will. He'll come out behind his teammate as Pasti drops down into 8th place at this moment. Simo, unsurprisingly, getting ahead. So he's now in 7th. Boss 1 to 2.8 seconds ahead. Only expect it to be a couple of laps before he's under some big pressure. But it doesn't look like Pasti got the best exit there. Coming on to the main straight. Was he close enough at the DRS detection point to get the DRS? I don't think he was. This should be a fairly straightforward pass for Deso. Hasn't been the race he wanted. Hasn't been the race either of the Mercedes boys wanted. Deso is in 8th position at this moment in the time then. Race leader Super Mario. How much longer will he go on these medium tyres? Can he get to the end? I don't think so. I think another lap or two he'll be putting on the soft tyres and seeing how high up he can get on the field. But it's fair to say this two-stop strategy hasn't worked for him with 10 laps remaining. Sam still keeping up. Speedster really dropping back and might even have to start being a bit careful. 6.6 seconds is the gap to Alex. Unsurprisingly, the Red Bull of Simo setting the fastest lap. Speedster running very wide there. That might get him just beyond the limits of what the game considers acceptable, but he's really having to push hard. Hasn't had the pace in this thing ever since he made that lock up into turn 1. Just hasn't had the pace to keep with these guys, and you can see at the moment, looks as though 3rd place will be the best he can do. Barrel's load of understeer. He must have some minor front wing damage that we're unable to see as Fidele takes the fastest lap of his teammates at this moment in time. And I said it might be a lap or two. Well, I said it might be 2 or 3 laps before Boss Wanted was under pressure from Simo. There we go. Look at this. The Red Bull already up within DRS range of Boss Wanted. Will he be close enough to have a run into the hairpin at turn 12? Closing before we get to the DRS. He might be able to go for a late lunge here. He should have the grip on the tyres to make it work. Simo is going to go for a late lunge. Down the inside goes the Red Bull. Ricardo-esque almost. He's up into 6th place using full advantage of the soft tyres. Alex is his next target. Given how easy that was, I don't think the Racing Point will be able to do anything about it at this moment in time. Back with the lead 3 then, and Sam into the pits then. Ditching those hards. He's putting the softs on at the end of lap 19. Soft tyres will be going on Sam. Have to see where he comes out. I think he'll be just behind Pasti in 9th place, but obviously will have much faster tyres, so could still find his way up the order with a few laps to go. Perfect pit stop from the Mercedes boys. He might actually come out ahead of Pasti here. It's going to be closer than I thought here. There goes Deso. He's a long way down the pit lane. A long way down the pit lane, but could be pretty close on the exit. And I think Pasti's just about. You can see the Renault. Pasti's just going to have that place. So Sam in 9th, Pasti in 8th. Can Sam now work his way up through the order? And it's safe to say, considering Pasti was up in 4th place earlier on, hasn't been a good final stint for him. He'd have been hoping for a bit more from this race. Super Mario staying out on the medium tyres. Is he trying to stretch them towards the end? The longer he goes, the more likely it looks. But you'd have to say, the pace on the tyres is just going to drop as Pedro is off the circuit. Big front wing damage for him. Luckily, he's able to continue. Has he got any fresh tyres left to put on that Ferrari, or will he end up retiring in the pits? I hope he carries on. No, he does retire. I can't say I blame him for that. But we have seen a retirement. Sam getting ahead of Deso, and Simo getting ahead of Alex Pro. Now he's going to try and push. He won't know this. Jeff doesn't normally tell you about these 5-second penalties. Speedster has 5 seconds to be added. We could see Simo get on the podium here after not scoring any points last time out. This would be a great return to form, similar to what he did in the first race. The alternate strategy seems to work for the Red Bull driver. Trying something different could get him a podium. Could trying something different get Super Mario a victory. Took the net lead of this race off Speedster earlier on. Managed to get past Suku when Suku was actually behind the AlphaTauri driver. And there was that slight bit of contact that nearly led to Suku losing the rear of his car over the curb at the exit of turn 11. But the longer this goes on, the more you think. I do think if Super Mario was going to pit, he would have pitted. So he must feel like he can put these soft these medium tyres on until the end. You won't do this unless you've practiced it. You've got to say it's looking very good for Suku as Sam and Deso swap round. Sam, the pace on those soft tyres, moves up into 7th position. We've seen how fast they could be. Boss Wanted and Alex Pro could well be within reach of the Mercedes driver here. The Super Mario there, he has been passed. Suku takes the lead of this race. And I imagine that could well be that then. With 7 and a bit laps to go, has Super Mario got anything left on those medium tyres to fight with? Or will we see Suku just streak away now to take his 2nd podium and 1st win? And with the way the point situation is at this moment in time, don't think it'd be enough to get the championship lead. A lot could depend though on where Speedster ends up finishing relative to Simo. As you can see already, Speedster's actually dropped to within that all-important 5 seconds for his penalty. And we'll check the penalty situation for everyone else, but street circuits, quite often it's difficult to pick up penalties. Main places here, probably turn 6 really, or if you run a bit too far over the curb on the run into turn 13, or around this part of the circuit as well. But Suku in the lead from Super Mario. Can he now hold on to that 2nd place from Speedster, on track at least? He'll be using the DRS to try and keep in touch, but I don't think anything more than that is going to be possible for the Williams. He tried something different, might have still got him his best result of the season and his 1st podium with a 2nd place. We'll have to see how the end of this stint goes. Here we are then. Simo, can he get the softs to last for 12 laps that he needs to? Can he get them to last in a good condition? He's definitely still pushing at the moment. You can see he's within 3 seconds of Speedster, 3 seconds ahead of Alex, who... Let's not count Alex out. He could still get a podium here. Sam Gamer could still get a podium here, down in 7th place at the moment. I don't think we're going to know what's going to happen right until the end. I'll check the penalty situation for some of the lead cars. Suku kept it absolutely perfectly clean. Super Mario with big amount of penalties there, so he's going to drop quite a way down the order. Speedster with the 5-second penalty that we know about. Simo's kept it clean as well. Alex, 2 warnings, so it's only Super Mario and Speedster with penalties at the front, and that could allow some of these further back, Boss Wanted, Sam even though we know Sam does have a 3-second penalty, to maybe sneak a podium here. Sam, let's not forget, crossed the line 1st in Australia. Finished in 4th due to penalties. Felt like he should have won in Bahrain, but he's still up the air in the stewards. That incident with him and Speedster is still being investigated by the stewards. Hopefully, we should know by next time out. Only managed to finish 4th. Could finish 4th today, or could get his 1st podium, or just soft tyres wear a lot quicker than he expected. It could all end in tears. Has Alex made a mistake somewhere? Because he seems to have dropped back ever so slightly. Oh no, he's still about 6 seconds behind Speedster at the moment. But Boss Wanted, just on the slightly fresher, harder tyres, seems to have found another gear. The VRT driver in the Renault at this moment in time. He's in 6th place. Super Mario, I think it's fair to say, his mediums are cooked at this moment in time. Why oh why oh why? Why oh why oh why did he not think about maybe pitting earlier? If he was going to pit, surely he'd pit a bit earlier and put the soft tyres on. He's losing chunks of time all of a sudden. We did see, to be fair, Simo earlier on did do very well on those medium tyres, so they could definitely make it last. I just wonder if Super Mario pushed him a bit too hard, because he seems to be dropping back from Suku around a second a lap, and even Speedster's now starting to close him up. So Speedster could still end up, if he gets past Super Mario next time around, could still end up finishing ahead of him after all the penalties are applied. We'll have to wait and see how things are going for these guys. Boss Wanted has dropped back ever so slightly now from Alex, and Sam up into that 7th position, going for the hards at the start of the race, enabling him to put the softs on and be extremely fast towards the end. He's going to have to maybe pull off a similar move to what we saw Simo do earlier on, where someone's not expecting it, if he wants to get further up the field and start chasing after Simo Cassiaro. 6 seconds for gap with 5 laps to go. It's going to be tough. It's going to be almost impossible. But we've seen the pace Sam's had so far this season. Don't be kidded by the 7th place. He's an extremely fast driver. Speedster almost pushing Super Mario. through the roundabout at 6, 7, and coming on to 8 and 9. Mario's just got absolutely no grip on those medium tyres whatsoever. This could be a straightforward pass before we even get to the DRS zone. You can see the Red Bull in the background. Super Mario down into third place at the moment as his teammate pits for a 4th time in this race. It's not going to be any points. We know that from Coutinho. Speedster takes 2nd place. Super Mario down into 3rd. Will his mediums last towards the end? Will he even have a puncture? It could be close. It could be very, very close indeed. When he put those on, I thought he was going for the 2 stops. Just look at the understeer he has got at this moment in time. The dirty air as well will absolutely kill him through this final sector. Simon Cassiaro sniffs to 2nd place on track at the moment. Never mind in the pits, his teammate trying to go all the way around the outside of Giggs at the hairpin makes it stick, and that is Fidele, championship leader, back up into the points. Won't be championship leader though. After this race, it looks like it will probably be either Suku Speedster or maybe Simo, his teammate. So Red Bull still looking very good in the championship at this moment in time. Here's the battle then on track. 4 laps to go. 2nd, 3rd and 4th separated by about a second. At this moment in time, you've got a similar gap separating Alex, Boss Wanted and Sam for 5th, 6th and 7th. Super Mario's got the DRS. Got some very good straight line speed as well. Doesn't look like Simo even bothered hitting the overtake there to think about going for the move. He just wants to save it all for this straight. Speedster's still going to give DRS though to Super Mario, so maybe it'll be next time around. But was out in front. Suku's got the gap up to 4 seconds. He's just cruising away at this moment in time as Sam makes his way past Boss Wanted. Better traction out of 8 and 9. Gets the move done. He's now up into 6th. Alex is his next target. Both of these having DRS, and it looks like Boss Wanted thinking about fighting back. Is he going to try and go all the way round the outside at the hairpin? Sam's much later on the brakes, maybe a bit too late. Still makes the apex though, so holds on to that 6th position for now. You can see the problem Simo's got. He's lost the optimal grip of those soft tyres. They'll be getting to the point where they aren't much faster than definitely the hards on Speedster. Probably still much better than the mediums on Super Mario. And you can see he's going for the move at turn 22 again. He tried it earlier on. The only driver I've seen try that, and I can't blame him because it definitely works for him. Fantastic move, and he's still going to have DRS, obviously, off Speedster as well. And that is Simo up into 3rd position, currently on for a 2nd place, which would be enough to give him the championship lead after 3 races, with 3 laps still to go then. Are we going to see these drivers catch up to Super Mario? The lack of pace he'll have on that car at the moment. We could see Alex, Sam, Boss Wanted, some of these others. I think he'd have been... I know I've said it a few times. I think he'd have been better off pitting. You can see him locking up that front right at the moment. He's just about going to stay within DRS range. But I was surprised when lap 19 and 20 went past that we didn't see the Williams coming to the pits. Just look at the understeer he had it turning. The oversteer when he puts the throttle on. Simo, he'll be going for this move. Giggs getting himself a 3-second time penalty. It looks like his run of points is over as Sam Gamer, straightforward pass once he opens for DRS through turn 10. Gets past Alex, and it looks like Boss Wanted thinking about having a go at that as well, but that is the Mercedes up into 5th place. And he might still sniff a chance of getting his way further up the order as Simon Cassiaro round the outside before you get to turn 13. He loves going for an overtake today where you don't expect it. He takes 2nd position at this moment in time with just 2 and a bit laps to go. Speedster still has a penalty and could still drop behind some of those behind him. Super Mario's mediums, if there's any rubber left on these by the end of the race, I will be incredibly surprised. We're only 1.8 seconds now ahead of Sam, who's dragging Alex along with him. Boss Wanted seems to have dropped back ever so slightly on this lap. Dezo and Pasti, and you can say Rail Fidele, Giggs and Coutinho, all sort of just on their own. You can see Dezo coming around in the background in 8th position at this moment in time. And already, Sam's within DRS range of Super Mario. Giggs coming into the pits, gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He'll be putting the softs on just to get the fastest lap. Won't get a point for it, but just for a bit of bragging rights. Sam very late on the brakes there. But you can see he's just able to make the turn in. He's going to go for the move down the inside here. Super Mario's just got absolutely nothing left. He's tapped the wall there. I think he's got a slight squeeze from Sam. No damage done. That's going to leave him very vulnerable though to Alex. Down the main straight, who's got no ERS once again. With Super Mario having DRS as well, that's going to make it extremely difficult to overtake. Boss Wanted just dropping a bit further back. So Sam now up into what is now his traditional 4th place. Gets a bit closer to Speedster though. I think he might have a chance of getting on the podium here, as Speedster trying to battle back with Simo Cassiaro then for the 2nd position at this moment in time, as the softs on the Red Bull probably a bit past their best. Out in front though, just about to start the final lap. Suku felt he should have got pole position, getting very close to it. It's 4.2 seconds ahead coming onto the final lap, and this should be a straightforward run to victory for him. Alex trying to go round the outside there at turn 22. Boss Wanted trying to go down the inside. Super Mario's tyres are cooked here, and you can see Alex takes that 5th position off him. Boss Wanted not able to go down the inside because Alex was there, of course, so should be able to just maybe make it down the inside at turn 2, because there's so little grip on that Williams at this moment in time. He's trying to hold on, not able to do so. Got a yellow flag. I'm not sure if that was just for a slow moving car there, but we did have a yellow flag for a second. Now will Boss Wanted be able to get past Alex Pro? He's gone very deep indeed. Pasti gets himself a time penalty. He's down in 9th. That shouldn't affect him whatsoever. One last try maybe for Speedster to get 2nd place out on track. Can he get ahead of the Red Bull of Simo Cassiaro? He's going to go down the inside into the hairpin. Gets the move done before the braking zone. Able to move back towards the racing line. He is now up into 2nd position. Another lap or two. We could have well seen Sam get involved in this battle as well. Looks like Alex is going to end up finishing in that 5th position out on track. Going to be very hard for Boss Wanted to get a move done. Speedster needs to watch out though, because we've seen Simo go for it into turn 22. I don't think he's got the grip to do it anymore. We'll have to see. Does he take that wider line through this corner? He's thinking about it. Speedster had it covered, sort of covered mid-air though. Suku hasn't had to cover anything for a while. He takes the victory here in round 3. Speedster will cross the line in 2nd. Penalties will drop in behind Speedster. Sam Gamer crossing the line in 4th. Alex takes the podium then by 0.3 of a second. Great job from him to get his 1st podium of the season. Speedster ends up 4th. Sam 5th. Boss Wanted 6th. Super Mario 7th. On those medium tyres, definitely might have been worth coming into the pits. Deso in 8th. Pasti will be in 9th. And the championship leader before this round, that championship lead has gone to his teammate Fidele, crosses the line in 10th place. Giggs and Coutinho will be the final 2 finishers. But your winner of round 3, the 3rd winner of the season, backing up his podium in the first race of the year. It was in Australia. It is Suku. Giggs pushing to get the fastest lap, gets a corner cutting penalty. He'll come home down in 11th. And fair play to Coutinho. He's got a broken front wing. He's done 4 stops, but he hasn't given up. Do enjoy seeing this attitude from drivers. He's kept fighting. It's not gone to plan for him, but he will cross the line to be our final finisher. 12th place in this Vietnam Grand Prix, and you can see Pedro and Bainer, both of them pulling into the pits to retire. So Coutinho will cross the line as Suku celebrates his 1st victory then of the season from 2nd on the grid. I'm imagining driver of the day is going to go to Simo. Yeah, great job from him making that alternate strategy work from 11th on the grid. Fantastic drive from him to get a podium. Great job from Alex as well to keep it clean. Went a bit longer in that first stint, and it meant he had enough pace to hold on in the final stint. But your winner of round 3 here in Vietnam, it is Suku. Speedster then from pole. That pit lane speeding penalty costing him 2 places and 6 points in the end. Just didn't seem to have the same pace on the hard tyres. He finished 4th. Sam Gamer, penalties again costing him. Could have been a podium. Indeed, it is 5th on the alternate strategy. Boss Wanted 6th. Super Mario stayed on those mediums a bit too long in 7th. Deso had a lot of confidence coming into this race. so far this season, only 4 points from today. He is 8th, past his 9th for Daly, a point for 10th, and a point for the fastest lap. Giggs missing out for the first time this season. Coutinho was the final finisher. Pedro and Boehner retiring from what was a very interesting race around this Vietnam circuit. Definitely one of my favourite of the new tracks to commentate on. Definitely not to drive around. Do seem to struggle, and we did see a lot of front wing damage there. Suku, though, just took it all in his stride. Came close to spinning. Came very close to spinning earlier on. But ends up taking the victory. He is now up to 40 points. Simon Casiaro, though, is the championship leader now on 44 points. 4 points ahead of the McLaren driver, who will move into second place after 3 rounds of the season. Still, though, a long way to go, of course. Next round will be the Chinese Grand Prix next weekend from another of the Tilkodromes at the Shanghai International Circuit. The first 3 races here in AOR PS4 F2 have seen 3 different pole sitters and 3 different winners. Will round 4 provide a 4th of each? You'll have to tune in to find out next time. Make sure to check out all the other AOR Hype Energy League races on the channel. And let's not forget iRacing, Project Cars and R Factor Action can be found on the channel throughout the week as well. But for myself, Luke Etheridge, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time around.